Good afternoon, sorors, and happy Founders Day. Welcome to the Finer Beat, Perfect Your Finer, with the Tall Delta Zeta Chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. I am Heather Brown Coward, and I am one of the co-facilitators of this Finer Beat workshop. So welcome. What a wonderful way to begin 2021 and starting with your self-care, which is starting to begin with skincare. We will be going over skincare, how to properly take care of your skin, and quick makeup tips on just that perfect beat during the day. So we'll be using products that are readily accessible at any store or drugstore. And I would like to introduce Sade Wade. She became a member of our wonderful sorority out of the Lambda Zeta chapter in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She has a master's in business and finance and always had a passion for teaching and innovation, but one passion that she had was skin care. She studied aesthetics, which was at the Steiner School of Estheticians, and graduated at the top of her class. Prior to graduating, she was co-teaching on body treatments and emerging as an esthetician to look out for. So I would like to welcome Sade Wade, and she is an esthetician here in the Lanham, Maryland area.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. Welcome. I see a couple of people are joining, so I'll give them a little bit of time to join. I am coming to you today from my luxury skincare studio. Feel free to come visit me one day if you're in town. Today, I will be going through a series of things, but I really want this to be nice and fun so you guys can ask questions. I have my notes here that I'll be looking at, just making sure I hit all my points. So if you see me looking down, that's the reason. I am coming today with a dirty face. So I'm ready to cleanse my face. What I use on a regular basis probably is a lot, but my basic skincare routine for you guys is I use the Rhonda Allison Skin Brightening Cleanser, which you can't see very well. I use my Janelle Grace toner on a regular basis. I use also the Rhonda Allison Pro Youth Balancing Grapeseed Serum for a moisturizer. And every day I also use the Rhonda Allison Reflect Broadband SPF. That's what I use on my skin on a regular basis. But today it's going to be super fun because I don't have any serums over there that I use. I use lots of serums on my face. But today I actually went to Target to get a lot of different skincare products that we can use today to cleanse our face. So what I have in front of me is a bowl with 2 sponges. That's what I'll be using to cleanse my skin in terms of the water mechanism. And the first thing I'm going to use to cleanse my skin is the Versed Cleansing Balm that's at Target. Now, cleansing balms are important, and I'll talk through it as I open it up and start to use it. Cleansing balms are really important, especially if you use makeup. If you're an avid makeup wearer, you want to make sure that you cleanse your skin twice, sometimes 3 times if you're wearing makeup. The reason why you do that is because normally, let's say you just wash your face. The first time you wash your skin, you're really only getting rid of the makeup that's off your skin, the first layer. You're not really cleansing your skin and really getting deep into your pores. So you want to make sure that you always double cleanse. So that's the first note of today, sorors and guests, to write down in your notepads if you're taking notes. Double cleansing is a must. So cleanse twice on your face, especially in that evening cleanse, because you want to make sure you get the whole day off of your face. So I use a spatula to cleanse my skin. I also want to make sure that sorors and everyone note that you want to wash your hands before you wash your face. I've already pre-washed my hands. And the idea of that is that you want to make sure that you're not adding any additional dirt back onto your skin in the cleansing process. So 2 things we've already said: double cleanse and wash your hands before you wash your face. 3, do not dip your fingers into your skincare products. Really try to make sure that you're using some type of spatula or you're pouring it directly into your hand or on a brush. That's better. All right, so I'm using a little bit of cleansing balm. With cleansing balm, it's an oil-based cleanser. So I don't know if you can see this, but it turns into, it's kind of like, this one in particular is very reminiscent of like a Vicks Vapor Rub. That's how it feels on your skin. So you want to make sure that you apply it to all the areas. And because it's an oil cleanser, and how oil cleansers work is it works to grab as you are cleansing your skin. It works to move the oil that you're putting on your skin, because it's oil or oil-based cleansing balm. It moves the oil in and out of your pores, like such. And as it's pulling, because that's what cleansers do, they pull out of your skin. As you are pulling the oil, as you're moving it around off of your skin, it's collecting. So when you go to wash this off of your face, it will take out extra oils that you have on your skin. And when you're using makeup, most of the times we use foundation. Foundation is an oil-based product for the most part. So oil gets rid of oil. And Soror Heather, if anybody's asking me questions, let me know. Once I take off my glasses, I'm fully blind. I cannot see. So yeah, so remember.
Actually, I do have one question.
Okay.
Sade, I'm very sorry. I do have one question. We do have a question within the gallery. She would like to know, there was a question that was posed. I'd like to know if a list of products would be available.
Yes, I will provide a list of products.
Okay, thank you.
While our soror is doing the makeup, I'll put together a list of products and send it over so we can post it in the chat. All right, so we're cleansing. Remember, oil gets rid of oil. And that's the reason why we use an oil cleanser for makeup. This feels really great, by the way. So this is my first time using this particular cleansing balm. I've used a lot of different other ones. I have one in my line as well. But this is actually really great. Can you put more hot water in here? I'm using sponges. Look at, if y'all can see this little bit of dirt that's on my skin. Like, I mean, this product works really well and nice. On your skin is very smooth. The cleansing process really should take a while to do. It's I always tell people to take 2 minutes to cleanse your skin. Like, so it takes about 2 minutes to fully get the product worked into your skin. If you're using a gel-based cleanser, it takes a while for the lather to really accumulate and really get into your pores. So you want to give yourself 2 minutes. A key for me is I always put on some type of music that I like to listen to. You put yourself a good Her song on, a good Jana Haiko, or whoever your favorite artist is. Typically a song will go about 2 to 4 minutes. That if you cleanse the whole entire time while you're doing that to your skin, it will definitely give you enough time for the product to work into your skin. So I'm done using the cleansing balm. I had to get some more hot water because it got cold while I was waiting on us to start. The next product I'm actually going to use is a product that at the foundation a lot of people use for skincare products that are home-based that you'll see a lot. But it's the Dr. Bronner's unscented baby pure Castile soap. Now, this product is strong. I have oily skin naturally, so I tend to use a lot of products that are better for oily skin. This is one of those products, but this is a product that's also pretty good for acneic skin if you have acne. But it's pretty sensitive enough that depending on the amount of water to skincare you use, it'll be pretty effective. So I'm going to use just a drop on my skin. Put a little water, take a little foam. And while I'm doing this on my face, I'm actually just going to tell you about the different type of cleansers that you can use. So we've used so far an oil-based cleanser that I said was really great for makeup and removing makeup. Also is really good as a first cleanser for people who just have oily skin naturally. It's a good product to use. Also, I am using right now a gel-based cleanser, or people tend to call those a foam-based cleanser because it creates a foam when you apply and add water to it. So that's what I'm doing here. We also have a milky-based cleanser. Milk cleansers are really great for people who are aging or who have very dry skin. If you have dry skin or are aging, let me know. I can give you some great products that I use for that are good milky based products. Elemis has a really great lotion. Rose petal cleanser. That's a milk based cleanser. Rhonda Allison actually has a milk cleanser that they call it, which is really great because it has goat milk in it and other lactic acids that are great for keeping moisture into the skin. And then lastly, you have a cream-based cleanser. Now, cream-based cleansers are like those Pond's cleansers. You will probably see them mostly like grandma used them a lot because they kept their skin nice and supple. But it really doesn't have a lot of active ingredients in a cream-based cleanser. It's really just one of those things you just put on, take off, just to keep in the routine of cleansing your skin. But typically a lot of older women use those products. Most of the products that you'll find over the counter are going to be gel or foam based cleansers that will provide you some type of lather or have a gommaging effect, which means that it roughs skin off of it slushes skin off of your face to hydrate. Let me wash this off. So let me take this off my face. I use tepid water, so water that's not too hot. Here's another tip, sorors and ladies, is that you want to make sure that your water is not too hot when cleansing your skin. If it's too hot, your skin will be too dry. Have you guys ever washed your skin and at the end of your cleansing routine, you felt like your skin was really tight and kind of like just feel like it was really like pulling? That means that your skin has dried out too much. So you might want to adjust your products. But that also happens when the products that you're using are too drying for your skin and the water is too hot. So that's why a lot of your skincare professionals will tell you not to wash your skin in the shower because the temperature in the shower is great for your body because, you know, women, we like to wash in very, very hot, boiling water, as my fiance would say, but it's not really good for your face. I see some questions coming through because I think I saw a question mark, but I don't have my glasses on, so let me see. Sorors. Let me move to the chat here. All right, I'll get to some of those. Great, 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 great. Close. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna take my glasses back off. So I've double cleansed my face. As you can see, that process took about, I don't know, like 5 minutes to double cleanse. I make sure I use 2 minutes for each of those cleanses because I like to really work into my skin. My skin feels nice, and my skin feels right now very nice, soft, smooth, and it still feels like it has a lot of moisture in it, which is great for me. You want to make sure that your skin does not feel like super tight or starts to get super wrinkly. Those things will help push wrinkles through your skin the longer it takes. So like they always say, the oilier skin is, the more moisture you have in your skin, the less likely you are to get wrinkles, which is why African-American women tend to age better. It's because we have a lot of oily skin that's already in our natural DNA. So we want to make sure that we keep all of those natural oils into our skin. Now, what I also do, sorors and ladies, is during this process, I also exfoliate my lips because I have really dry lips. I'm anemic. So I tend to have dry lips. So we're just going to do that really quick as well. It's a part of your face. You can get these on Amazon. They're about, I think they ultimately end up being maybe like $2 each. Alrighty. Alrighty. Leave that in the bowl. Put a little balm on to make sure we can finish the rest of the process. So serums. So I'm sure that you all, if we're all regular women, so we've purchased lots of serums. I'm sure if we pulled out our skincare kits at home, there are tons of serums that are available. I tend to purchase serums because all serums are not created equally. I tend to purchase serums that are good for evening my skin tone and texture because I tend to have hyperpigmentation or get hyperpigmentation if I have any type of acne on my face ever. If my kid scratches my face, I'll get hyperpigmentation. So that's my issue. Also, I have extremely textured skin, so I tend to do a lot of skincare around texture. I no longer get acne as much, so I don't tend to get serums that are for acne. So today I have 2 serums that I'm using. It's a Sweet Chef Ginger Vitamin C shot. This is supposed to brighten dark spots and uneven skin tone. I also use a lot of serums for anti-aging as well. On a regular basis, I use a product called Synergy A by Rhonda Allison. That's for aging skin. I'm 35, so I'm trying to just, make sure that I do as much as possible right now so that my skin looks the same in 5 years. So that's one of the things I'm using. I also found this product today by Art Naturals. It's a hyaluronic acid serum. Hyaluronic acid is for moisture. It helps keep all the moisture into your skin. So if your skin is thirsty, you're most likely in need of some type of hyaluronic acid. How to apply serums, we're going to get to that. It's interesting. But as I just saw that I needed to tone really quickly. So today I'm using the Pixie Skin Treats Glow Tonic. I use these 4x4s. You can get these on Amazon. If you're buying expensive products or more expensive products, you don't want to waste those products with cotton pads or cotton balls. Cotton tends to soak up most of your product and doesn't leave you being able to use the product onto your skin. I just use a little bit of product. It soaked right through the whole entire 4x4, which is great, with only one little dab. So as you start to purchase more expensive products onto your face and onto your skin, you want to make sure that you also use the complementary products as well so that you can use your products more wisely. So again, these 4x4s, you can purchase them on Amazon. I think they're probably about like $5. You can get like 200 of them for $5. So this is my toner. Toners are used to rebalance or put back in what you removed from your skin during the cleansing during the cleansing process. So again, this is a step that most people tend to forget in their cleansing routine, but this toning is so vital to the cleansing process, because when you remove all of your dead skin cells off of your skin with the cleansing process, and you're stripping a lot of the natural oils out of your skin during the cleansing process, you want to make sure that you can rebalance or tone your skin by using a toner. It's all about balance. If your skin isn't balanced, that's when you tend to break out the most. So remember, balance, balance, balance. Do not cleanse your skin without using a toner. Back to serums. So serums, ladies, you can, honestly, I've applied like 7 serums to my skin before. You can go hamsies on the serums, trust me. But you want to make sure that in all of your serums that you are applying your serums from thinnest to thickest for product absorption. So if you are just first time using a serum, what you want to do is place a little bit on the back of your hand. That's a hyaluronic acid serum, which is generally pretty thick, depending on, every hyaluronic acid I've had is pretty thick. So I'm using 2 serums today. So really quickly, if you don't know, because I just bought these today, so I'm learning them like you're learning them. You want to feel that has a little bit of texture to it. So it's a little thick. Oh, this one's much thinner. So I want to make sure that when I'm putting on these serums, that I'm going to apply this thinnest one to my skin so that it absorbs, and then I can apply this thicker one over it. And then that can absorb later. And you want to do that so you maximize the full benefit of all the serums that you're using on your skin. Now, you've seen blogs, so you've seen people go like this on their foreheads and stuff like that. I don't really apply serums that way, but I did it today just so y'all can see. I put it right in my hand. I tend to do that, even though it kind of wastes more of the product, because my hands are usually dry. So I like to give my hands a little extra benefit as well. So that's the first layer, and it's already in my skin. Feels really good, smells good. I like that. I would definitely, here's another tip, so please write this down, ladies. I got the travel size in these products. If you're a person who buys a lot of skincare, and sometimes you realize that it fails, or like you're like, oh, is this a good product? Is not. The best thing to do is always buy the travel size. The travel size will ensure that it's a product that works well on your skin. If you like it, then you can go back and buy a larger size to keep in your collection. If you don't like it, you can toss it. You haven't wasted too much money. It's very important, especially as you start to get, and I'm patting this into my skin, as you start to get into some of the higher end products. One of the products I mentioned earlier today, the Synergy A, it's about 2 ounces, and the retail value of that is $102 per bottle. So with products like that, you want to make sure that you are not wasting your money. So you want to get the smaller one first and really see if you like it. The good thing about some of the higher end products, though, is that at least that if you like shop at Nordstrom or things like that, if a product really doesn't work well for your skin, or if you had a really extreme reaction to it, they will tend to give you your money back. So, buy a $200 product, like it or not like it, and get your money back. It's worth it versus, for me, buying a $4 product over the counter and not being able to return it. if it has caused me some type of reaction. So that's also a benefit of sometimes buying professional brand or higher end products versus your over the counters. So I've done my serums. I'm going to close those up. And next, I'm going to apply some moisturizer. Again, I'm using a spatula for that. And the idea of using a spatula for these items is your hands carry so much bacteria, even though we wash them. If I think about what I've just done to my face, even though I've tried to maintain a cleansed area, and in your bathroom, you're in front of your sink, so you try to maintain a cleansed area. We've picked up bottles, things like that. So you just never really know what you picked up. So I try to make sure that if I have something on my hands, that I'm not putting it back into my nice clean bottle of products. This moisturizer that I use, and I really like their product and their brand at Target, is Bliss. It's the Drench to Quench. It's again for dry skin to rehydrate. I want to use some of my hands as well and apply it to my skin. Oh, this product is really soft. This is one that I used to use on clients a lot, and I recommend this for clients if they have budgetary issues in terms of like buying products. This is a really good moisturizer to use, even though I prefer more of the oil-based moisturizers. This is a nice cleanse, creamy-based moisturizer. Because I can put back on my glasses now. Great. Because we are in a time where we have to wear masks. A lot of people have been getting what I call mask knee. And how do you prevent that? You get your mask. Try to make sure that you use a clean one each day. That's very important. So if you're using cloth ones, make sure that you at least have 7 or to 5 so that you can wash them in between wears. If not, I have disposable ones that I use every day. When my clients leave, they need a new mask or something, I'll give them one of these. How you keep your skin hydrated and make sure you prevent mask knee is you use a toner and you spray it in your mask before applying it to your face. That way, instead of the mask rubbing into your skin, you have it. The Bliss toner, the Bliss that I just saw that, the Bliss that I just used doesn't have an SPF. I recommend you all using an SPF as well. I use an SPF daily in the morning. Like, you have to use an SPF, especially Black women. I know that we were told that we were kind of immune to the sunshine. We are not. A lot of my aging clients that I have right now, a lot of their wrinkles and some of the texture and spotting that they have on their skin is from years of not using SPF. Like, SPF is one of the most important things that you want to use in your everyday, and you use it even though there's no sunshine because there are always sun rays. So yes, definitely spray that in your mask. It's one of the best tips that you can possibly ever take from this, because we have to wear these masks so much. You literally have to use them all the time. So the SPF, I use the Rhonda Allison SPF 22 in here. I don't like using any SPF. Another tip, ladies, I don't like using any SPF that's over a 30. When you get to anything over a 30, that really means that they've had to add some type of chemical into the SPF to make it stronger. And you don't really want to add too many additional chemicals onto your skin. So if you have something that's below 30, that means they probably use zinc dioxide as a natural SPF in a product. And that means when the sun hits your skin, it bounces back off. When you use a chemical in the SPF, and those are anything that are higher than a 45 SPF, that is allowing the sun to pull into that product. It changed the molecular base of that product, and is doing some type of chemical work while it's onto your skin to protect your skin from those rays. And you don't really need all that for your skin. Anything under 30 is great. So 22, 27s are really great if you know that you are going to be in the sun all day. Let me see what questions I can get to, because I know that part was, everything else was pretty quick. Let's see. Go back to the beginning here.
Sade, I have some of the questions that are written down from the beginning.
Oh yes, thank you. Can you help? Thank you, Sorority.
Yes.
Leaning on the shield.
So the first, so one of the first questions I was asked, how often should you exfoliate?
Depending on your skin type, because that's very important. We tell people in the skincare industry to exfoliate at least once a week. So everyone should exfoliate once a week. But if you are suffering from skin thickening, or you have texture issues, or your skin is acneic or oily, then you can exfoliate 2 to 3 times a week. You just don't want to over exfoliate your skin. Over exfoliating will lead to more acne onto your skin, and that's generally not what you want.
Also, another question, should oil cleanses be used when not wearing makeup?
If you have oily skin, you can use oil-based cleanser every day. I have oily skin. My first cleanse on my skin daily is an oil-based cleanser.
And what can people add to their diet to help their skin?
So anything that you eat comes right back onto your skin. So I tell people, my clients all the time, like when they come in with acne, especially right in here, I already know you're eating terrible. You have grease in your diet. And I tell them all the time, make sure like you cut out those greases and fattier foods in your diet. Dairy generally is a no-no. It's generally a no-no to people of color. I don't know if you guys know that. So cheeses, milk, all that, ice cream, it'll all settle onto your skin. If you're lucky enough for it not to settle onto your skin, it messes up your digestive tract. So generally dairy, no-go. Drink all of your water. Soda shows up on your face. Coffee shows up on your face. Chocolate shows up on your face. And I just feel like there's so much that shows up on your face. Like, why not just, eat healthy as possible so that you can just have the healthier texture skin. Some products that are good for your skin, in terms of eating, almonds, great for your skin. Asparagus, fresh oysters are great for your skin, ladies. Like great. And the effects of an oyster show up on your skin almost immediately. It's so good for your skin. What else do I tell people often to eat? Even something like replacing potatoes with sweet potatoes show up on your skin in a way that's great for your skin. If you think about it, if you go to what I tell people, if you go to other cultures and what they eat, it tends to have a significant value that's on your skin. So Jamaican food, like, you know what I mean? Like Jamaican food, plantains versus potatoes. Asian food, some of the noodles, lots of vegetables, leaner meats, like all of those type of things are good for your figure and good for your face at the same time.
Another question. There were several questions that were in the chat. We were
Go
trying to
for it.
keep
I'm ready.
that we were trying to keep up with. Also, too, and that was a great question. Far as what to add to your diet, how it reflects in your skin. Another question is: if you have oily skin, should you use an oil or gel-based cleanser?
So both. You want to use an oil cleanser first. Remember, like I just used a creamy cleanser to strip the excess oil that's off your skin all day. And then you want to follow through with a gel or foam-based cleanser to really get deep into those pores. And that's going to additionally suck any extra dirt that you have. And you just want to make sure that because you've done so much sucking of your skin and your skin is naturally oily, you want to make sure that you put the oil back onto your skin. So that's why I would recommend a product like the Balancing Grapeseed Moisturizer or Hydrating Grapeseed Moisturizer by Rhonda Allison, because it's an oily based moisturizer. And it really just adds a lot onto your skin. As a matter of fact, I have oily skin, so I'm just going to show you because there's no time like the present to over moisturize your skin, because I like really over moisturize. I'm going to use this balancing because this is what my skin looks like on a regular basis. Like, because I'm out here, like, I don't care if the sun is reflected off of me. Like, I like to be shining. Okay. So this is what the Balancing Grapeseed oil will look like. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want my skin to be shiny. It's not supposed to be shiny. You want a healthy glow. You want your skin to shine. All of us who don't have shiny skin would be jealous of people who have that nice oily glow, because when y'all are 70 looking 40 and we are 70 looking 60, we want that into our skin. So you see that glow? I don't know if you see that, ladies. This is the glow I like to have every day. This is why you use like a more oily texture if you have oily skin. Even if you don't, like I have clients who there are oils for everyone. So I just like it. You see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, too, this was a very important question. What is considered aging skin?
You know what?
I'm laughing because I'm in that category.
So aging skin is everything under the 25 mark, if I'm honest. And we say that in the skincare industry because at age 25 is typically when the average person has combated any type of adult acne that they have. Which means that, you know, a lot of us know if we had adult acne. I know I had adult acne. My skin didn't really clear up until I was about 23. And I felt like I had teenage skin my whole life. Like, it was just like, girl, when am I going to not have acne on my skin? So about the age like 26, that really tends to like calm your skin tends to calm down. You balance, your skin has matured. That's probably when you see the first levels of crow's feet or something, or like you get the fine lines around your mouth. So that's when I typically tell people to flip to a skincare routine that's for more aging skin. And what that really means is that the skin products that you have for aging skin tend to have a lot more peptides in them, a lot more antioxidants, and it has a little bit more oil into the skin to make sure that your skin is super hydrated on a regular basis.
Also, too, there's another question. I think a lot of us have experienced this. What can we do for dark spots, and how can we reverse that?
So, you know, half of my clients I specialize in aging and hyperpigmentation. So half of my clients are coming to me because they have issues with hyperpigmentation. On average, it takes about 2 years for your skin naturally to get rid of pigmentation. And that's given that no one or nothing else happens to your skin to cause any additional hyperpigmentation. Black women, women of color, the higher the scale on the Fitzgerald scale, Fitzpatrick scale, is that we just tend, like, as soon as we feel a pimple, that will get to hyperpigmentation. There are a lot of natural products that are used for them, but you make sure, like, for your toner, the toner that I use on a regular basis is my Janelle Grace toner. It has apple cider vinegar in it. Apple cider vinegar is very good for hyperpigmentation. There are products that are designed for hyperpigmentation. If you want to get rid of them fast, there are products that you can get from a professional like myself that have very active ingredients. So I have like a skin brightening gel that if people sign up for my hyperpigmentation boot camp, that's one of the items that they typically purchase within that package. They get in the package a skin brightening cleanser. That's something that's very great to use on your skin on a regular basis if you have hyperpigmentation. In a boot camp like the one I have, it'll take about between like 6 weeks to 3 months to really see a dramatic difference. But I can say after a first hyperpigmentation facial that you would get at a studio like mine or somewhere else, you can see usually a transformation after a first treatment. But that's really aggressively trying to get rid of hyperpigmentation. So aggressive, you know, you can see differences within a treatment, 6 weeks to 3 months. Leaving it be and just letting it fade out with a good cleansing regimen, toning, moisturizing, and exfoliating and getting facials that don't have anything to do with hyperpigmentation. I would say a year to 2 years to fully transform your skin. Naturally, I tell people lemon helps with like the acid in lemon helps with hyperpigmentation. At home, you have, if you cook a lot, you might have turmeric. Turmeric helps in terms of hyperpigmentation as well. And if you mix a little bit of honey, turmeric, lemon, make it thicker, use a little bit of egg white, that's a perfect mask that you have at home that you guys can use for hyperpigmentation. I mean, it works really great. Do it once a week. You'll see a difference in your skin.
Also, too, there's 2 questions, and this one question, I'm old school. I understand where they're coming from. Is Witch Hazel a good toner?
I have a love-hate relationship with Witch Hazel, to be honest. So if you're a teenager experiencing acne, I think Witch Hazel is not so bad. It's aggressive enough that it gets rid of that crazy teenage hormonal acne that seems to be hard to combat. The issue is that as you get older, because Witch Hazel is so drying to your skin, that you'll probably get wrinkles. I mean, so it depends. Do you want more wrinkles with the Witch Hazel toner that's effective, or do you just want to use something a little bit softer, like a rose water or a diluted apple cider vinegar? In a lot of my products that I make at home for my toner, the one that I use, it has some Witch Hazel in there as well, but it's diluted to the point where it's not directly onto your skin. And I think that's what I'm getting at, is that when you get a little bit older, you have to dilute some of these really pungent products onto your skin. You just can't put them onto your face. And when you get those Witch Hazel bottles, or alcohol essentially that's in the bottles at the store, they're so concentrated that's going to dry out your skin and cause other issues that you might have a hard time getting rid of later. And wrinkles are one of those things that's very hard to get rid of once they're on your face.
Also, there is actually a question for our healthcare workers. What are the recommendations for mask-related acne?
So the one I just gave you earlier, make sure you spray your mask down. I also tell people that you want to make sure that you're either using the disposable ones or ones that are cotton-based, and you want to spray it down with some type of toner, and a hydrating toner. So a lot of my clients who are in the healthcare industry, they get the cucumber spritz. That's by Rhonda Allison. I also like this product by Estederm. It's an EAU cellular mist. It's water in a bottle, but it's at a very fine cellular level. This will run you about $30 a bottle, but it's really great. You can use it every day just to make sure that you're getting rid of the friction that's on your face. And if you have skin that's naturally pretty oily, always just carry a makeup remover wipe, so that midday you just really cleanse your skin, pop some moisturizer back on, and put your mask back on and go out throughout your day. No makeup. Just if you want to do makeup, you got to have an eye popping, like a little eyelash, do you? But just try not to wear any additional makeup.
Also, too, there was a question from the audience. If you want faster results to get rid of acne scars and hyperpigmentation, would you recommend a chemical peel?
So I would have to see your skin first, but chemical peels are pretty effective. So I have two facials that I tend to give to my hyperpigmentation clients. One is an advanced hyperpigmentation facial that comes with a chemical peel in it as well. You just want to make sure that you use the chemical peel that's right for your skin. There are so many chemical peels out there that are available over the counter that will burn your skin off. Like, I cannot tell you, I have pictures, clients after clients who have come to me after using like the Ordinary brand peel or some other over-the-counter peel, and their skin is completely burned off. And the issue with that is now you've just given yourself additional hyperpigmentation to try to get off because you were trying to fix one issue and you've created another issue. So you always have to make sure that you go to whatever licensed professional is in your area to get a chemical peel. And you do that so that there are things that we can watch for on your skin as the peel is working, that will tell us to immediately remove it, so that it prevents any additional damage. It's so easy to burn your skin. And I can tell you, like, in the beginning of my career, I've been doing this for about 4 to 5 years. When I was doing free facials on my friends, I was burning skin. Like, so do not, like, that's why I tell you, like, you have to be a professional when applying these skincare products, and even professionals mess up. Like, so you really have to have someone watching over you while you use chemical peels. Otherwise, chemical peels are great. They're effective. This is chemical peel season, y'all. So this is the best time to get chemical peels, is fall and the winter time, because it's not radioactive with the sun. You cannot get a chemical peel in the summertime, because each time you go outside, the sun will be reacting to the chemicals in the chemical peel and burning your skin off more. So this is the ideal time to get chemical peels.
Also, there was a question in the audience. Do you recommend disposable or reusable spatulas for moisturizers and other products?
I use disposables. I don't know if it's a professional trait, because I just make sure that I don't want to, cross-contaminate anything. In the kind of world of COVID, most things I use are disposable. So I would say disposable. They're cheap. I get there are 100 of these I got for like $7 off the internet.
And also, too, what recommendations do you have for the neck area?
So when you're at home, I can't do that here. When you're at home, a lot of people tend to cleanse their face and they forget about the neck and décolleté area. Get it all. And especially, and this is for aging women, this is the tip. I don't usually give all these tips out, but I'm talking, so I got a lot of them. When you're cleansing your skin, just go upward. That helps to tighten up your skin. So cleanse, 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 cleanse. And that will help prevent that sagging skin. It'll also help lift your double chin. And I have one of those, ladies, so I like to roll it up. But yeah, cleanse all of this with the same products that you use for your face. Just cleanse down here. You can serum down here. You can moisturize down here. You can SPF down here as well. And that also helps ladies who wear a lot of makeup. That actually helps your skin tend to match your face in your neck and face area. So that overall helps with evening out your skin tone.
How do you feel about home microabrasion treatments? How do you feel about that? That's a question that was in the audience.
Y'all see my
Ooh.
face? I mean, I don't recommend them. People do them all the time. Just make sure that you don't over scratch your skin when you're doing it. So when we're doing it on your face as an esthetician, now granted, we're using a different level of machinery here. Our machines for microderm treatments can range from $300 to $1,000 for a machine here. And when we do that, our machines tend to be a little bit more harsh on your skin, but we're monitoring it and doing it on someone else's skin. So that's something that you just want to keep in mind if you're going to do it at home, to monitor the level of scratching and scraping on your skin and making sure that you're using the tips for the sections. So when you get microderm stuff like on Amazon or something like that, I've seen a lot of different kits and things like that. There are things that you can use for your skin, like elbows, in those tools, and versus things that are supposed to be used for your nose and under eye. So you just want to make sure that you're using the right tip for the right service, which has to come with some type of level of training. So just make sure that you are doing all of your research at home. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people who I get who have used them, they tend to come back to me and they're like, well, what did I do wrong? And I have to fix their face. Feel free, come go and get a facial. You know, after you mess up your face at home with a microderm treatment, I'm ready. I'm here for you. But just make sure that you really be mindful about how you're using the products and not to overuse them.
Two questions, because we're coming near to the end of our segment and we're going to go into our makeup segment. What is the recommendation for porous skin that is combination? And also, two, what products are best for dry skin versus for those who have oily skin?
Okay. So for pores, you tend to want to use products that are, they'll say it really on the bottles for like pory skin. So for instance, like I have 4 cleansers that I use under my brand. Usually to tighten pores, I use like a pumpkin cleanser, something that's really foamy that'll tend to tighten up your pores a little bit more onto your skin. But then I also have to use like a heavier moisturizer to make sure that I'm adding that moisture back onto your skin after using a more drying product onto your skin. Once your pores have really developed, you really need to actually see an esthetician or dermatologist for them to do a treatment that's to close up those pores. Because once a pore has formed and there's blackheads in it, the pore is really well defined, and you have to do things that are more extreme to close them up. So what I do here is I do microderm treatments for my clients. If you have a lot of different, like a lot of deeply defined pores, I do micro needling on your skin. And micro needling is just adding it's small needles that are just pricked all over your face. The idea is that I'm damaging your skin to regenerate healthy skin over those really deep pores. Chemical peels, depending on what type of peel, because there are peels for every skin type. Chemical peels are also really great to get rid of those deeply defined pores as well. And also really cleansing and getting into those with some steam and other facial tools to clean out those pores will help, lessen the look of those pores on your skin. In terms of dry skin, again, there are products that are like designated for dry skin only. Some of the milky based cleansers, rose water is good for dry skin. So a dry skin routine for me would be maybe my Elemis Rose Petal Cleanser, or the foaming peptide cleanser from Rhonda Allison. I would tone with something that had rose water in it, something that was super hydrating. And then again, moisturize with something that was super hydrating to your skin as well, and something that maintained hydration throughout the day. Hyaluronic acid is something that's really amazing for people who have dry skin.
Also,
and I think I
too,
saw
we
something about
have
facial steamers too. Yes, I mean, go get a facial steamer at home. I love them. I have one at home. I am here so much that I rarely use it, but they're great. I love a fresh steam. I mean, you can't really over steam your face, if that makes sense.
also too, there has been a lot of questions, and I'm trying to capture everyone's question, so I don't want anyone to feel left out. So please bear with me. There has been questions in regards of crow's feet and dark spots. Like, how do we the dark spots under your eyes, the crow's feet? That was very popular. That was one of the popular questions that was asked in the chat.
So I have a couple of products that I use. I'm so glad I'm here actually, because I'm over here. I just got all my products ready. So what I use is my Rhonda Allison Eye Revitalizer. And I'm just going to show you quickly if I can find my. These two things will save your life. I'm like pulling on this thing. Okay. So I have a jade roller. You see this small one at the end here? This is for your eyes, specifically for puffy eyes. My business is in Lanham, right across from Kitchen Cray. I saw that before I took off my glasses. So with cleansers, you just put it, I mean, with eye stuff, you put it right under your eyes. I haven't seen an eye cleanser, an eye product that I've gotten that's been great over the counter. So if everything else in your Rolodex in terms of skincare is over the counter and not as expensive, take your extra money and get something for your eyes that's expensive, because it's gonna be a good purchase for you. So you dot it around. So here I use my jade roller and go up like this under my eyes. It works miracles. Do this every day, guys. This is one of the things that I don't tend to do often, because I'm just so busy. I just don't. And I've had bags under my eyes. I was born with them. You should see my daughter. She has them. She's 2 years old. So it's just one of those things I've had forever. So this is hereditary. It's not really going away without surgery. But that would be your eye routine right there. Is there anything else, Soror?
I am trying to. I think we've captured everything. If not, I will put Sade's email address and her website within the chat. She is located in Lanham, Maryland. It is Zuri by Sade. She is open for consultation, and she will, you could be able to make consultations and schedule appointments through her. So somebody did another question
about what about the black under your eyes. So today,
yes, that's what I was about to say.
So they're brightening products for that. Today I just shared with you that there's a paste that I make on your skin with turmeric, lemon, egg white, and honey. Those products you can leave under your eye overnight and let that settle. Typically like around, it's kind of like about the dark circles on your face. It takes a while for your skin to really rejuvenate. So you can use things like the eye revitalizer or put that paste under your eyes to let that soak in to the dark circles under your eyes. But typically, dark circles under your eyes are also related to things that are external to your actual skin itself. A lot of times you'll come in, it's stress, it's genetics. So a lot of people just tend to have it because their parents have had them. So when you get older, some of those things start to come out, like moles. Like I know that I'm prone to get moles onto my skin. A lot of those things you ultimately have to go to your dermatologist to have removed if you want them removed, or you just learn to love it because you have them. Unfortunately, with genetics, that's just kind of how it goes.
And this will be our last question for this afternoon into our makeup session. The side wrinkles, the side eye wrinkles and crow's feet. How do we combat that? Because I'm starting to see a low, wrinkle. I don't know if I need to put some tape, to fake that out. But
so again, use your jade roller. Buy expensive eye care products, but here's the tip that I'm going to give you guys because I think it's like super effective. Egg white on your skin. And if you have at home, this is going to sound probably completely crazy, but I tend to use like milk or like a buttermilk, which sounds like I'm about to make a pancake, but I'm not. But before I put on like some type of makeup, I exfoliate my skin really well. And I use a little bit of milk and a little bit of egg white, and I put it on the sides of my little crow's feet right here. It works kind of as a natural primer to your skin and tightens it so that when you put on your makeup over it, it just looks like you have a naturally firm, lifted face. But that's a little tip for you that a lot of people tend to use. So definitely check it out.
Well, thank you, Sade, for sharing your skincare tips to our women and men. I just want to make sure, because I'm not sure if there's any men, but for women and men that are participating in the finer phase. Next up, we will have Fael. She will be introducing Sierra. And also, Sade will be providing a product list. Just please give us a moment.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. So today we have Sierra Stokes, who is a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Tau Delta Zeta Chapter, Spring 419, sorry. Sierra has a passion and drive for all things beauty and skincare. She has been doing professional makeup for approximately 10 years and is a proud member of the Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated Atlantic Glam Squad. So Stokes, she specializes in luxe, soft glam, and special event makeup. She strives to educate her clients on proper makeup applications and skincare practices with each visit. Her goal is to create her own line of products targeting missed margins within the beauty industry that not only makes your skin look great, but feel great. Her passion allows her to express herself creatively while making others feel comfortable and confident in their skin. Thank you, Sierra. The floor is yours.
Hi, sorors and friends. I hope everyone is doing well. I have started this side so that we can go ahead and match on that side. But prior to getting started, I did want to do a little session of mindful affirmation and word, especially following our Founders Day. Just so that we can recognize ourselves and our inner power and the strength that we all have within. So if you guys don't mind just sitting with your feet planted, preferably not with your legs crossed, we can close our eyes, you can sway to the music, but just enjoy it. It's fairly brief, and we can go ahead and get started, and hope you guys enjoy. So hold on one moment.
I can make whatever decisions I choose. I am in control of my life. I have the freedom to direct my life in whatever direction I see fit. I have the ultimate decision-making authority in my life. I'm capable, I'm smart, and I have unlimited opportunities. I'm able to do anything I want to do. I am free of limitations and boundaries. My options are only limited by my creativity and my imagination. I'm able to learn anything I need to learn. I'm willing to do the work necessary to take my life in the direction I choose. I'm capable of anything I wish to do. I'm confident in my abilities. I'm confident in my decision-making abilities. And I'm confident in my potential. I'm free of the belief that I am stuck. I refuse to settle. I know that I deserve to have a wonderful life, and I am free to pursue a wonderful life, and I am free to do whatever I wish to do. Today, I'm considering all possibilities in my life. I am exercising the power of choice. I feel free to pursue whatever my heart desires. I am smart. I am capable. I have unlimited opportunities. I'm able to do anything I commit myself to. I am free of limitations. I am free of boundaries. My options are only limited by my creativity and my imagination.
So I'm going to speak up a little bit. I hope everybody can hear me. If you can't, please let me know. Unfortunately, my voice doesn't project very well. So please let me know if anybody is unable to hear me. So what we're gonna do is we are going to do a simple everyday face that you can choose whether you wanna glam it up or even tone it down a little bit. One thing I want everybody to know is that makeup is about fun. Makeup is about having fun and being able to express yourself. There's not necessarily a right or a wrong way to do it. So if I do something differently than you do, then it's just a different practice that you can try out and see which one you actually prefer. So let me know if you have any questions and we will get started. So I have done the eyebrow and the eye for this side. It's a very neutral look. And I'm gonna go over how to do that so that we can recreate it on this side. The first thing that I always start out with is a primer. So the primer that I used, I had already previously put it on, is actually what gives this little glow because it does have little glitter flakes in it. But it is the NYX Bear With Me. So everything that I will be using today, the only exception is going to be my eyeshadow palette, is bought from a drugstore. So Walmart, Target, CVS, Rite Aid, whatever works best for you. You should be able to find these products or some rendition or version of these products. So I take the primer and I put it over my entire face. This is what is going to pretty much prep your canvas. So just as with the just as with the skincare, you're making sure that you have the proper foundation in order to be able to have your makeup sit and look flawless. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna start out with this other eyebrow. And I will walk through it. What I am using is the NYX Fill in Full. So the NYX Fill in Full is, it's going to be an eyebrow pencil. I have it in chocolate, and it's going to have two sides. So one side is going to be a brush where you can go ahead and make sure that all of your brow hairs lay in place. And the next side is going to be the tip in which you're going to actually stencil your brow through. So what I always do is I always start from below my brow and I build that shape and then I fill it in. If you end up outside of your brow at all, that is completely fine because we are going to clean it up. Your brows can be all over the place, and with a little bit of concealer, we're going to go ahead and fix all of that up. If you see me looking over to the side, I do have a mirror on this side just for a little extra reference. So let's go ahead and start in. So first what we're gonna do is we're gonna go under and we're just going to develop that baseline. And you're gonna go from the tip all the way to the bottom. We don't want the tip to be too strong, but that's why we do have the brush on the other side so we can always soften it up if need be. So once you go ahead and you get under your brow, you're gonna have that brow line. So that's gonna pretty much be that base fruit. And then I go ahead and I fill in the middle and I start working my way up so I can start filling out that other arch. One thing to keep in mind is that your brows are sisters. They may look a lot alike, but they are not identical twins. So you may have to adjust one way for your brow to look the same as the other. And even if they're not exactly the same, I guarantee the only person that probably knows is going to be you. So as long as you rock it with confidence, then you are good to go. So we're going to go ahead and start filling from the middle and all the way down to the tail. And you're just going to use light strokes. That way, when you get to that blending process, if necessary, it's going to just be an easier blend through. So as I'm going through the middle section, I'm starting to work my way up to build that shape. And then I'm going to work my way towards the front. And as I go to the front, I'm going to use less and less pressure just so that we don't have that big block in the front. So you want to go ahead and build them up, build your arch. And then you have the base for your eyebrow. So as you guys can see, they're sisters, not twins. This one's a little bit thicker. This one isn't. So the only thing that we do is we just try and make them as alike as possible. Like I said, you're probably the only one that would notice that they aren't exactly the same. And as long as you rock it with confidence, nobody's gonna know, nobody's gonna be able to say anything. So since this one is a little bit thicker than this one, I'm just gonna thicken it up a little bit so that when we go ahead in with our concealer, it's just gonna be an easy cleanup just to make them look even. So I'm going to start with thickening at the bottom a little bit and then thickening, around that arch as well. So I'm just going to bring that bottom down just a tad. And then we're going to go up to the top as well. So this arch is a little bit higher up. So I'm just going to bring this side a little bit higher up as well. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to clean up with a little bit of concealer. And that way they can match a little bit better. And then also it's just going to clean up that line and that shape just so that it looks as crisp as possible. Some people that may want to go a little bit heavier on the eyebrow to get that Instagram eyebrow, just make the tail a little bit darker and just make the front a little bit lighter. That way you do have that gradient, and that's what you see everybody doing in the pictures. So we're gonna go ahead and clean up this side. So what I'm going to be cleaning it up with is just going to be a angled brush. It's going to be a flat brush here. This brush can be used for a number of things. It can be used for eyeshadow. It can be used for precision shadow, eyeliner. It can be used for precision shadow. It can be used for brows, or even cleaning up brows with some concealer. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the precision angled brush. And then I'm grabbing my concealer. Again, everything is drugstore. So this is the Maybelline New York, the Fit to Me. I actually like the fact of, well, what they did with this brand. They greatly expanded their shade range. And my shade is very difficult to find because I am a neutral undertone, but a neutral undertone with olive. So it's something where a lot of people either go warmer or they go cooler, but they like to try and ignore us middle neutral people, but we still exist, so we're gonna work on that. So we're going to take a little bit of our concealer, and I just put it on the back of my hand. There are also little palettes that you can use for mixing if you prefer not to put your cosmetics on your hand. This is just convenient for me, but when I do have clients, then I make sure to utilize the other different pads and everything just to reduce any type of bacterial transfer or anything from my skin that may not agree with theirs. So with the concealer, we're gonna go ahead and just kind of tight line under and over. We're just gonna go over the shape so that it is as crisp and clean as possible. So I just start with like a little sweeps and little sweeps where you kind of connect the dots as you go. End up with a lot more of a precise outcome just because you're not rushing it through. So you just start from cleaning underneath. My apologies, I'm not sure what happened there. So you're gonna start with cleaning underneath. And then curve around this arch here. And bring it down to the tail. And just so that it blends as smoothly as possible, I just add a little bit of extra product around. And then to go over the top, gonna do the same thing. And now if you mess up, you can always go and refill it. And if you wanna make them thinner or adjust your arch or shape in any type of way, a little concealer can work some magic. So we're gonna go over top. And I'm just doing little strokes just so I can make sure that the product is going where I want it to go. Because as we know, makeup can have a mind of its own sometimes. Okay, so there we go. We have another eyebrow. And I went ahead and I kind of nixed that part right there while I was doing my concealer. So we're gonna clean that up just a little bit in just a couple swipes. And there you go. So we're gonna blend the eyebrow down so that it looks more natural. And then you're gonna go ahead and look at your shape. And if there's any adjustments that you feel needs to be done, you can definitely go ahead and do so based off of your personal preference. So now we have two eyebrows. So we're gonna go ahead and make that eye look like this eye. We are going to be using a neutral palette. So with that palette itself, it can range. Neutrals go from a warmer brown clay shade to pinks. It just depends on which colors you like best and what you want to play around with. As you grow your makeup collection, you can always buy new products, try new things, and see how they do on your skin. I know that Sade was mentioning previously about higher end products. One thing to keep in mind with makeup as you're experimenting, if you do use higher end products or stray away from drugstore, meaning Sephora or Ulta, typically they'll do a refund within a certain amount of days, simply if you're not satisfied with your product. So if you're not satisfied, let's say within 60 or 90 days, as long as 50% or more of the product is still there, then they'll go ahead and they'll refund you your money for it, no questions asked. So that's one thing that you can keep in mind with the difference between drugstore and something that's a little bit higher end, is there are those different caveats that go along with it. So in starting the eye, one thing that you want to do as well for the eyes, as we did with the face, is prime. So priming is very important just because it goes ahead, it preps our canvas to make sure that everything is good to go. So the primer that I'm going to be using is a Milani product. So it is the Milani eyeshadow primer. Let me see if I can get, there we go. Milani eyeshadow primer. And then if you guys are interested in any of these products, please let me know. Or if you guys have different skin concerns and just want to see what products may work best for you, again, I can help with that as well. So I'm just going to take like a little dollop and I'm just going to put it on my eye. And this is just going to create the best canvas for your shadows to lay on so that they can be bright, so that it can minimize any type of fallout. And so that they can stay on your eyes throughout the day or until you decide to wash it off. So once we go ahead and we add our eyeshadow primer, the first thing to do is go ahead and add a base color. So I always recommend when we're going for a neutral look is that your base color be a color that is as close as possible, if not a half a step lighter than your actual skin color. That way it's something where everything else is just going to blend into those colors themselves, and it'll give a better gradient. So the palette that I will be using today is going to be the Kat Von D Shade and Light. So this palette is nice if you want to just play around with some neutral basic colors. It doesn't have a whole bunch of frills and thrills. Sorry, but it's just some neutrals and some gradients, browns, so that you can go ahead and just be able to play around. This palette is great for going from a everyday look to something that's a bit smokier and more extreme. And one thing with Kat Von D's products is they are very long lasting. They're cruelty free, not tested on animals. And that's another thing to be mindful of, is that your products are cruelty free, just because sometimes they try and hide them on the packaging, whether or not it states that it's cruelty free. So that's something to definitely make sure of, because we don't want our products tested on animals, and we also don't want any animals to get hurt. So just make sure that that's something that you look for when you are purchasing products. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start out with that color that I said is as close to my skin tone as possible. So I'm going to start with this very nude kind of shell color here. So I'm going to take that and I'm just going to press that on my eyelid. And this is just going to give us a nice base where we can go ahead and blend everything into that. Because I know that if you guys watch YouTube videos or anything having to do with makeup artistry, the one thing that you hear whenever somebody's like, oh my God, I messed up, is blend. Just keep blending. Because either you're going to blend the color out, or you're going to blend the color, or you're going to blend the color in, And either way, if it was a problem before, it's gonna look better than when you started. So just keep blending. So once we put that base color on, I'm going to go in for a crease color. So the crease color is going to be the color that we are going to focus on this section here. When going from light to dark, as long as my color shades are within the same neighborhood, I have no problem with using the same brush. Just make sure you clean it afterwards. The only problem with using the same brush is with these types of situations, if you have to go back into a lighter color, you do have to clean your brush off or get a new brush to start with. So I am going to take a step up from my base color to start out with my crease. So I'm going to go with this color here, and I'm just going to build my crease a little bit. It's going to be a little rosy, just a little bit of a rosy tint. I know it may be a little bit hard to see here, but it's just going to be a little bit of a rosy tint, just so that there's a little bit more contrast. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to smoke it out a little bit, just so that the eye can have a little bit of definition. And again, we're going from day to night. So if you want to go with day, we want to make sure that it is a gradual process. So with the smokiness, I'm just taking this darker brown, if it focuses. I'm just taking a bit of a darker brown, and I'm going to go into, ooh, maybe if I get on an angle. Okay. So I'm going to take this darker brown right here, and I'm just going to go on the outer crease, and I'm going to concentrate most of my pigment there. And then as I feel as though my brush is running out of pigment, I'm going to bring it into the inner crease, just so we can have a little bit of that contrast and that everything is blended together. So I'm going to take that brown. And with shadows, you can always build. So a little bit goes a long way. And if you want more pigmentation, then just build from there. But it's better to build up than to have to try and deconstruct afterwards. So we're going to go in this corner here. And we're just going to focus in this little section, because we just want it to be subtle. Then once we feel as though our brush has kind of deposited that pigment, we'll bring it over just so we can blend everything in. You just want to add a slight bit of contrast. And just go in again, just making sure that everything is deposited. And get a very slight smokiness. And as we see, this eye is starting to look a little bit closer to this eye. We are getting closer to those final steps. So what we are going to do is we are going to add a little bit of highlight to the eye by adding some glitter powder or your highlighter to that space there. So I actually have the highlighters that I will be using a little bit later, but I am going to take this gold color here, and I'm going to take a flatter shadow brush since this is going to be a more precise placement. So I'm going to take this flatter shadow brush, and I'm going to go ahead and take this glitter here, glitter highlighter, and I'm just going to press it into my lid, but I'm going to stop about 3/4 of the way, just so that we don't lose that smokiness that's there. So we're gonna go ahead and press this in. And then if you're doing an eye with color or something that's a bit more pigmented, I still start with a neutral base that just goes all over the lid. And then from there, you can build your color on top of it. It just creates a good base or a good platform. So it's kind of like when you're painting a house, you'll have the primer and then generally like a white coat, and go ahead and put your color on top of that. So you just want to make sure that you have the best foundation possible. So we're just tapping that in. And then you go ahead and you have that bit of contrast where you have a little bit of smokiness on the outer corners, and you have the highlight that catches the light to your eyes and to the center of your face there. You can determine what colors look best on you based off of your undertone. And you can determine your undertone a lot of times based off of your veins. If you can see your veins in your wrists. So I am neutral, so my veins are going to be a blue to green color. If you are cool or a cooler undertone, then your veins are going to be more of a blue color. And if you're more of a warmer undertone, then your veins are going to be more green. One way to also tell is if you feel as though if you are a cooler undertone and you are wearing gold, you may feel as though gold feels a little, it clashes with your skin a little bit. Just based off the coolness in your skin and the warmth of the gold jewelry. Also same on the other side, where if you are a warmer undertone and you wear silver, you may feel as though the silver washes you out a bit. And a lot of times when it comes down to undertones, you have to play around because different products have different interpretations. But when you have a general idea, then you can start building from there. And you can also be in between. So since products vary, that means that the definition can be a bit loose, but you can be a neutral undertone leaning towards warm. I'm a neutral undertone that's leaning towards cool. And it makes it difficult for me for shopping for products because a lot of brands that don't have many people of color within their developmental stages, they feel as though when you go darker in shade that you have to go in a more clay or warmer direction. So don't ignore your undertone. It's very important. When you put on foundation and you feel like it looks perfect at first and then it starts to oxidize and it either turns ashy or it turns red. If it turns ashy, then it's too cool for you. If it turns red, then at that point, it's too warm for you. So that's one thing that you can keep in mind. And then what we're gonna do now is everybody's either favorite part or the part that they always dread, which is eyeliner. Because people are always afraid, I'm going to poke myself in the eye, they're not gonna be the same, it's gonna be horrible. And you can. It's possible. I've done it myself a number of times, but I'm still here. I'm still an advocate. So clearly it didn't take me out. It's not going to take you guys out either. A little bit of liner. The only thing to be mindful of is just be very patient. Be very patient with your liner. It's something where if you are in a rush and you're not experienced with eyeliner, you might just want to skip it. And if you have the time to really get to know your eye shape, and get to know what products works best for you, then it's definitely a great thing to accentuate a look. So the eyeliner that I'm going to be using is going to be the NYX That's the Point eyeliner. So NYX came out with a whole bunch of different, custom eyeliners, so different shapes. And this one's actually shaped like a little teardrop. And it helps kind of grab that angle in. Some people also prefer just having the straight, very narrow tip. And some people have experimented with things like the roller eyeliner, where it's literally like a little rolling ball that you just pull across, or even the eyeliners that just have the different customized tip shapes. So how I do my liner, and I'm gonna go step by step and I'm gonna look over and then show you guys as I'm doing it. I am first going to do a little bit of a line underneath just so that we can get that base or that structure there. So we have our little line, so that's just our starting point. You can either freehand it, you can hold it down so that you can get it a little bit tighter. And with liquid and pencil eyeliner, it's all a personal preference. Some people like pencil better because it can be a little bit more static on the skin. It's not going to shift. You don't have to wait for a drying period. And then also when you're working with different eye looks, a pencil can be blended to add a different dimension to the look. A liquid can be more precise. And if you are kind of sticking within the upper lid, then it's something where it can be a bit of a bolder look. It can have a blacker or a deeper color that is pushed through with the liquid. So it's all based off of your personal preference, but you can do a wing liner with a pencil, whether your pencil is sharp or if you just draw your line across. And then if you have an angled brush, like the one that I was doing the concealer with, then you can just take the remainder of that eyeliner and just flick it out, and you'll have yourself a nice little cat eye. So once we do that initial line, we are going to bring it over just to create kind of a triangle shape, and that way we'll have something to fill in and connect the rest of our eyes to. So I made my shape, and I'm gonna go ahead, and from here, I only brought it halfway through because if I wanna make my liner thicker or have a more dynamic tip, then at that point, I'm gonna pull it all the way up. So it's something that we're building on. So again, liner takes a little bit of patience, but once you have it, then it's something that you can rely on, and oftentimes people just kind of are able to put it on with a flick. So we're gonna go ahead and fill that in there. So that's gonna create the half tip, and then we're gonna connect it all the way through. And then as you guys are experimenting with liner, just as with eyebrows, you're gonna realize like, oh my God, they're not twins. They don't even look like sisters. I don't even know if they're cousins. And I'll show you guys how to clean that up because it's really easy. You take a makeup wipe or a cotton swab with some makeup remover, and then you just go ahead and pull it out so that it can extend and be the shape that you want it to. So we'll go ahead and we'll clean it up at the end. And what I'm gonna do now is, since I have pulled it all the way halfway through, I'm just gonna go ahead and go from the inner corner and just build it and connect it all the way out, just so that everything is cohesive. And I'm gonna try and make it the same thickness as this eye here. But eyeliner is definitely a personal preference. There are people that love it, and there are people that never want to be bothered. But again, makeup is just about having fun. It's about what makes you feel good, what makes you feel energized, what makes you feel like your best self, and what makes you feel like you're ready to conquer the world. You feel confident, you feel ready, and you're gonna go ahead and take it over. So make sure that whenever you're doing your makeup, you're doing it for you. And we're just connecting those dots here for the liner. And then if you want to go further into your tear duct to create a little cat eye, you can definitely do so. So as we can see, this one and this one are a bit different. So we're going to clean that up. And what I have is a makeup remover wipe. And I'm just going to go ahead and just pull from underneath that, that liner very lightly, just to get that extra product up. And that should definitely help to even them out. So once you have your liner done, then we're gonna go ahead and move on to the remainder of the face. So we're gonna do our foundation. And then one extra step that people typically do is they might wanna add some lashes to go ahead and get that extra, vibrant feel of your makeup. So next up is going to be our foundation. So we already primed the skin, excuse me. We got the eyes together. So we're gonna go in with our foundation next. Foundation always varies. So the foundation can vary from matte foundation, which means that it's going to give your skin a drier look. It'll also be a drier formula. There's glowy or dewy foundation, which is more hydrating. And then there is satin skin foundation, which means it's developed to make your skin look like your skin, just flawless. So it's definitely something that you can play around with. Anybody can really utilize any type of foundation. So even if you have oily skin, you can use a hydrating foundation. What matters is the skincare and the preparation that you use beforehand in order to make sure that your artwork sits on your canvas the way that it's intended to. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the foundation. This one here is Maybelline Fit Me. It is the matte poreless. And I'm gonna take a little bit of it and I'm gonna put it on my hand. I use beauty blenders or beauty blenders. That has become kind of the common term for all of it, but more so the makeup sponges. These are drugstore. And if I'm being 100% honest, this one is from Walmart. It is the Equate brand, and it is actually the closest thing to a beauty blender that I have felt in a long time. This one is the Techniques brand, and this one is a bit firmer, which is fine. But with the beauty blender, it's always about the texture of the sponge. With it being, supple and soft, it's not going to be as aggressive on your skin. And the other thing to keep in mind is with beauty blenders, you wet them first. So once you go ahead and you wet them, you wring out all the extra water, and then you'll be able to apply your product. So I'm going to take the foundation. I am going to, again, put it on the back of my hand or on a mixing tray and apply it. So if you have areas that end up being more problem areas, you can go a little bit heavier on that side. If you want a fuller coverage, you can use more product or you can use a bit more of a layering. Now, every formula is different, every shade is different, and every skin concern is different. So if there are any type of skin concerns that you guys have, that you're curious about foundations or makeup products going over top of them, please let me know, and I can definitely help. So with this foundation, what it is that my face is actually lighter than my neck. So the foundation matches my neck versus me wearing a foundation that exactly matches my face, and then I look a little bit too light or ashy when it starts working the way down with everything mending together. So we're gonna go ahead and beat that foundation into our skin because it's the finer beat. And typically I kind of get around the edges of my lips, just so that I can go ahead and have an even canvas all around. Now, whether you do your eyes and your eyebrows before your foundation or the other way around, it's all a personal preference and how you would like your makeup to sit on your face. Generally, I like to do my eyes and my eyebrows first because I build the rest of my face off of that. And I'll be able to kind of get a general look of anything that I want to tweak of my makeup look from this area here. I also put concealer after I put foundation. Now, if you do have skin that is a little bit more textured, or if you have more fine lines, then it may be a bit wiser to put your concealer on under your foundation so that you're blending your foundation into your concealer to create a more flawless look. So we're just blending that through. And ladies, if you guys are like me and you slick down baby hairs a little bit, don't take extra foundation to go over that spot. Because I know we've all seen those people that have, where the baby hairs got a whole lot going on because they did their face afterwards. Take whatever is left on your sponge and just go ahead and just tap it over into place. And that way you're still covering that area without having makeup buildup. So we're bringing the foundation around just to make sure that everything is even. And if your foundation is a powder, then you would go ahead and do your skin primer, and then you would just go in with your powder and just make sure that you have a setting spray afterwards. But again, whether it be liquid or powder, it's all based off of personal preference. Liquid has the ability to do a little bit more of a buildup. So if you like fuller coverage, then liquid may be more of the way to go. If you want something that's a bit easier and something that has less steps but still has coverage, then you can definitely use a powder. It's not going to be as much coverage, and building up with a powder can look a little bit cakey. So definitely keep that in mind. And the other thing with the powder is that you're not always going to have a choice of finish. So you may have a satin finish or a matte finish in a powder, but you likely not have as much of a dewy or supple finish. So that's just something that you can keep in mind. And then with the sponge, you would still wet your sponge with the powder as well. Just make sure that whether you're using powder or liquid, that you are wringing your sponge out thoroughly. You just want the moisture to soften up the texture of the sponge, as well as allow the sponge to expand. But you don't want the moisture to actually be felt on your face. So just make sure that you squeeze it out as much as possible. That way you still have kind of that end product of after it's wet, but you don't want to actually feel that moisture as you're proceeding. So once we do the foundation, ladies, when you're doing your foundation, or ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you get this side here, because we've all seen people where, you know, your foundation don't really match your neck or one thing or the other. But you want to make sure that you're getting this side here, this crease where your ear and your chin meet. You want to make sure that you're getting under your chin, and you want to make sure that you're blending downwards. Now with the blend down, you want to blend down not with a whole bunch of product. So you might want to concentrate the product at the top of the chin and then just blend it down until you can't even see that you have anything on. So since we went ahead and we did the foundation, then we are going to go ahead and conceal / create a highlight effect. So the highlight effect is intended to lift the eyes, lift the face, create a more structured appearance. And it also can be a little bit more youthful because your skin looks just a little bit more taut. So with the highlighting or the concealing, then we are going to go under the eyes. So if you're just going to use your concealer for the base of concealing any type of imperfections under the eyes or around the face, then you don't have to use a lot. You can go ahead and just do a couple dots and then blend that in. And when you're blending in, you always want to blend in and up towards your temple, because that's what lifts your face and gives a more youthful appearance. So if you wanted to go ahead and with the concealer, if you wanted a more natural look, then you would go ahead and just dab it on and go ahead and blend that in. For the kind of more soft glam, high impact look, we're going to create some triangles, excuse me. So I'm just creating a kind of a wing out from my eye. And so that you guys can see the difference, I'll go ahead and I will do the subtle side on this side here. So we're gonna wing out from the eye. And then we are going to highlight over the lip. And now that's also a personal preference. If you don't want to bring attention to your lips, then that may be a step to skip. But if you do want to bring attention, then it's just adding a little highlight at the top, just so that that little bow there just really sticks out. And then you want to highlight your chin a little bit. And with highlighting the forehead, it always depends. It depends on whether or not you want to bring attention to that, whether or not the light, you want the light to hit that. So I have a bigger forehead. I am a proud member of the 5 Head Club, and I am not afraid of it. It's okay. So I'm going to sit here and bring my highlighter down. And I'm also bringing it down my nose. It's going to thin out my nose a little bit and create more of a tip here. Again, everything is about having fun. So if you choose to do it, then definitely go for it. If you feel as though it might be a little bit too much, then, take it a step back. That's completely fine. So we're gonna just bring a little sunshine to your entire face. And we're gonna go ahead and blend. So blend with your beauty blender, blend with your brushes, whatever works best. And then you'll be able to see the differences between the different sides of something that is a little bit more dramatic and something that's a little bit more neutral or natural. And then concealer is also another way that you can clean up eyeliner. Especially if it is a pencil or a kohl liner. Just go ahead and put a little concealer under that bad boy and it'll be good to go. So as you can see, that lightened up all the way up to my temple here, even to the point where you can see like the apples of my cheeks. Now with this side, this is gonna be less dramatic. And I know we all make funny faces as we're blending or putting on mascara. But as you can see, this side highlights down my cheek up to my temple. And this side just highlights under my eye to make sure that there aren't any fine lines there. So definitely something to keep in mind, whether it be your personal preference. And this side, since it is more product, it lifts my eye up, and this side, it just kind of conceals. So just so that you can see the differences in the way that it does accent your face. And I can do a more neutral side on this and then a more soft glam side on this side here. So we're gonna blend everything out and blend everything through. You see how as I am blending that, how that light is just catching right there. You can see how that brought the light to the bridge of my nose, so it slimmed out the sides a little bit. So once we go ahead and we have our concealer on, then from here you can either do a liquid or a cream contour, or you can use a powder contour. Since we're doing quick and easy, we're gonna go ahead with the powder contour and just be able to play around with the differences of intensity. Since we're not going to be using a cream option and we have used all of our liquid products on our face, I am going to go in with a setting powder. As people of color or as a woman of color, a lot of these setting powders will end up being like a mineral veil or something that's clear or a white setting powder. It looks good initially, but then when you take pictures, you'll start getting that cast. So get a setting powder that is closer to your skin complexion, just so that it does have that reinforcement to it, and that when you're taking a picture, it's picking up the color versus the kind of reflective properties of that white powder. So the powder that I'm going to be using is going to be the Maybelline Fit Me, the loose setting powder. And this one is in shade 30 for medium deep. I think there were 2 steps lighter than this and about 4 steps darker than this. So they did have a range, which was great to see. So I'm just going to tap some of this into the lid and just disperse it over my face. It doesn't have to, we don't have to do what I'm sure you guys have heard of as baking. That's a bit more extreme. But we're just going to go ahead and just disperse this over our face. And then make sure to get that little area by your neck and down the side. So since we are all set, we are going to do our kind of like embellishments. So we're going to do the contour, the highlight, the cheek blush, the lip, all of those fun things. So the contour that I'm going to be using is Maybelline also. It's Maybelline. It is Fit Me in the matte and poreless powder and truffle. So what I did was I just got a powder that was my undertone. So it's a neutral powder, and then it's also about 2 or so shades darker than my actual skin complexion. And it's buildable. So with the powder, powders are buildable without kind of having that look of just kind of stacking makeup on top, especially when it comes down to your contours and your highlights. So I'm just going to take a big fluffy brush because since this is an everyday look, we're just going to go around just to make sure that everything is chiseled and everything is good to go. But we don't have to do a whole lot extra to get to that point from where we are. So I'm taking a little bit on my brush. And since this is something that is highly pigmented, I'm just going to tap off the extra so that we can build it versus it building on us. So where you would find to do your contour is if you suck in your cheeks, you have that line that's right there. So you don't want to go below that line at all because that's going to make your face look like it's drooping. But if you go at that line and kind of swipe upwards, then it's going to give that uplifting effect. So if you suck in your cheeks, and I go down as if I'm going towards my jawline, I probably stop about a ½ an inch beforehand, and then I take it around my face. Now, again, with the with the contour, with me taking it around my face, it's based off of my facial structure. We each have different facial structures. So you can have a oval, square, heart, round, and that would depend, or that would show how you would go ahead and angle and contour your face. So I have a oval shape. The bottom of my face pretty much meets the top of my face. My chin is a little bit more angled. But if you have a square face, then your face would more so square out. If you have a heart shaped, then that means that the top of your face is just slightly wider than the bottom. And that always depends on how you would contour. So I'm taking it under my cheeks, up to my temple, and around the perimeter of my face. Now, when it comes down to the temples and then even going below the chin, you want there to be a continuity when it comes down to doing your makeup. You don't want people to see where you stopped and where you started. You want it all to flow evenly. So I always bring it around. And then blending works with this too, because if it's too much, just keep blending it out and you'll get where you need to be. And then with the chin, if you have a double chin, then that's gonna go ahead and hide that. And we're just going to pull that back and then down. And if you can see the difference, I only did one side, but if you can see the difference in the contour of this side versus the contour of that side, that chin pretty much disappeared while you can still see that little bulge there. So we're gonna get that. And then you can always amp up your contour. You can kind of simmer it down a little bit. Since this side's gonna be a little bit more glam, we're just gonna amp it up a little bit so that we can have that real structure that's built into there. And then you guys will really be able to see the structural difference. Do you guys see the difference from this side with the highlight and the contour, with this side just being a little bit more natural? From here, we would go ahead and we are approaching our final steps. So we are going to pull out our cheek blush. So with the cheek blush, I have NYX. This is the NYX Sweet Cheeks Matte in Red Riot. Figure this is a really nice color for, you know, the fall winter season. It's a bit cooler, a bit deeper. So we're gonna go ahead and apply that onto our cheeks. So where you learn how to apply or where to apply it properly on your cheeks is if you smile, you'll see the apples of your cheeks. So that's where you're gonna apply it up to. And again, you're gonna sweep towards your temple so that we can have that sense of flow and continuity. And it's gonna blend right into that contour. And do the same thing on the other side. And if you ever feel like it's a little bit too much, you can just take whichever you had used your powder brush with and just tone it down with a little bit of that setting powder. And you have a nice little blush sun-kissed look. Now, before we get to the lips, all we have to do is a little bit of highlighter. So I have this highlighter palette, which is actually from Ulta, but it is their Ulta brand. So again, very affordable. And we are going to go ahead and highlight. Highlight is optional. One thing that is also a difference that you'll see depending on your skin tone. If you're a deeper skin tone, you can go ahead and even nix the bronzer or the contour process and just put a highlight with some concealer under your cheek to lift your cheekbones. And due to your beautiful skin tone, it will go ahead and contour itself naturally. And then you can always add a little bit of glitter because everybody loves glitter, a little bit of bling. So we are going to go over on the more glammed up side. I am going to highlight my forehead, under my brow bone, above my cheekbone, and then on my chin. I'm also going to go down my nose so that you guys can see what that effect looks like. And then on this side, I'm just going to go above my cheekbone so that you guys can get a taste of that as well. The biggest thing I want everybody to take away from this section is just have fun. Like, we are all built uniquely and we are all built differently, and that's for a purpose and for a reason, and we are all beautiful. So have fun with your face, have fun with your features. No matter how unique they may be or how unique you may feel that they are, there are always people out there that are going to know that it is beautiful. So with the highlighter, I just go over my cheekbones, and I am using this gold one here. And this is the same color I actually used on the lids of my eyes. So you can use products a little bit of everywhere. Have fun. So this would pretty much be the complete look before any type of setting spray. This would be a more natural look. And then on this side here, we're going to do a little bit more with this highlighter. So we're going to go above the cheekbone, above the forehead, above your widow's peak, or excuse me, your cupid's bow, and then your chin. So we can definitely see how this one is definitely more chiseled. This one's a little bit more natural. And then we're gonna go down the bridge of the nose. Once you have pretty much added all of the components to your face, the only thing that I have missed is some mascara. So you guys definitely make sure to put on your mascara. And you can play around with mascara like how I did with this eye. I have a black mascara at the top, and I have a blue, royal blue mascara at the bottom here. So it's something that you guys can play around with, even down to little details like that. So before we put on that lip, we are going to go ahead and set our face. You would set your face regardless if you use a powder, if you use a liquid. This is just going to hold everything in place, and then it's also going to help with the idea of transferring. As we know, you never like giving somebody a hug and then your face ends up pressing against their shirt or something, and then you're just like, ooh, we left a mark. So setting spray will definitely help with that and help everything to kind of set into place, stay into place, and not transfer into other places. So we're gonna go ahead and don't be afraid of it. I'm not saying douse yourself, but give yourself a little spray, let it refresh you, let it cool, and, sit on the face. It's all going to absorb. You don't need to pat it in or anything like that. Just let it do what it does. It adds a little glow, but it's going to absorb into the face and be able to really just hold everything into place. Last thing what we're going to do is the lips. I'm going to end it off with a simple lip gloss. This is Fenty Beauty. So her products are on her site and then also on Sephora. But great thing about Fenty Beauty is, especially during the holiday times, they come out with their stocking stuffers. Where it ends up being kind of like half the size of a regular product at a fraction of the price. So it's something where you can try it out and then determine from there whether or not you want to pay for the full price one or you want to, keep trying to snag those mini ones during the holiday season. So when it comes down to your lips, I know Sade was definitely talking about scrubbing and moisturizing. That is going to greatly impact how your lipstick looks. These days, the hot thing is going to be matte lipsticks or all day lipsticks. And those are great, but they are going to dry your lips out. So make sure that you are taking care of your lips, drinking enough water so that you're staying hydrated in total. But the way that your lips look before you put any type of product on it, is probably going to be the way that it looks afterwards. So if you're at a point where you're rushing and you feel as though you need to kind of get your lips together, you can make a very simple sugar scrub. You can infuse some moisturization with a chapstick, but just make sure that your lips are hydrated because you don't want your product to flake or to strip, because that's not a good look, especially if the rest of your face is beat to the gods or beat to our founders, and then your lips aren't looking like it. So we got to get it all together. So after you moisturize your lips, then go ahead and apply your lipstick, lip gloss. If you're ever concerned that a color is too light or too dark for you, or even too crazy, then the one thing that's going to marry it all together is going to be a lip liner. You can use lip liners of all different shades. They don't have to exactly match your lipstick, but a lip liner is great for experimenting with different colors that you may not be comfortable with. And if you have a go-to lip liner, it'll never fail you. So I'm not going to do a lip liner today, but I'm going to go in with this lip gloss. And as you can see, with the subtleness of that lip gloss, it makes that Cupid's bow really stick out with any type of lighting. So that is going to be our full face. You guys make sure to put on your mascara so that everything is complete. But this side is a little bit more natural, as we didn't take the highlighter all the way up, as well as the concealer highlighter we kept under the perimeter of the eye versus bringing it all the way out and up. This side is a bit more glam, where, as you can see, my cheekbones look a bit higher up because of the way that we did contour and angle everything going towards the temple, and it gives a bit more structure and a bit more glow. So I hope that you guys thoroughly enjoyed, and please let me know what questions or concerns that you guys may have at this point.
Okay, so we do have a few questions that were in the chat. First one, they really loved the affirmation and the music, and they'd like to know if there's a link for that.
Most definitely. I can put the link in the chat so that everybody can have it. I have been very big into self-love, inner meditation, self-work. So these little kind of mantras and meditations are definitely something that anybody can use just to kind of feel a little bit better throughout the day. You know, we're still quarantined, so sometimes you're like, I just want to get out this house. And sometimes with a little bit of meditation, you can free your mind even though your body is stuck in one place. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the chat right now.
Okay. So how many shades lighter should you go with your concealer?
With the concealer.
And does that affect picture?
Yes. So I would go between a half a shade to a shade lighter than your foundation or your actual skin color. Going anything beyond a shade can push it when it comes down to pictures of lighting. Some people swear by a shade and a half lighter, and it's definitely up to personal preference. But if you want something that is natural and buildable, I would definitely say a full shade lighter is probably kind of like that promised land area.
Okay, great. Next question. What can be done to ease itching when wearing makeup?
If your skin is itching while you're wearing makeup, you're probably allergic to something in your makeup, and that is probably not a brand that you should use. So try something that may be on the more natural side, or try looking at the key ingredients of the products in which you are consistently using and feeling that you're getting that reaction to, and try and stay away from those products. The other thing that we have to be mindful of is the shelf life of our makeup. We like to act like our makeup lasts forever, and it does not. It does not. You should not have makeup products generally over 9 months to a year. They should be kind of thrown out from there. Now, if you haven't opened the product, then you can hold on to it. But just be mindful that if you haven't opened it and it's been sitting in the store for a while, we don't know how long it's been on shelf. So just keep that in mind. But it could be your products. It could also be your brushes. Make sure that you clean your brushes and you're cleaning your brushes with something that is antibacterial, something that is going to kill anything that is living on there, because you don't want to keep introducing that to your skin. So I would say if you are itching from any of your products, try new products, because that's probably just not the product for you.
Okay, great. So what should darker women like myself
Mhm.
do in order to have great eye color?
So when you are deeper complected, then I would say it's going to be based off of the products that you buy. So when you do have more drugstore products, they're not going to be as pigmented. And that's where you see a lot of the loss in deeper complexions. And it's the fact that the colors will come off, either they won't come out at all or they'll come out ashy. So you may have to pay a little bit more to get something that is a higher quality, where it does have that pigmentation that needs to be built into it. The other thing is primer. So primers can also come tinted when it comes down to your eyes. So you can get a primer that has a bit of a tint in it, whether it be a lighter tint or a hue of the color in which you're trying to work with, and build up from there.
Okay, great. And you talked about cleaning your brushes. So is baby shampoo okay for cleaning your brushes?
Yes, baby shampoo is absolutely fine for cleaning your brushes. Now, if you have a lot of buildup on your brushes, you may want to get a professional brush shampoo. But if it's just for every day, I would take the baby shampoo, mix it with just a little bit of a harder detergent. So maybe like just a little splash Dial, and make sure that your water is warm. You don't want it to be hot where your bristles swell too much, and you don't want it to be cold where it can't really penetrate the brush to go ahead and get all of that product out.
Okay, great. What eyeshadow brands would you recommend for high pigmented color?
Juvia's Place. Juvia's Place, Juvia's Place, Juvia's Place. Um, Juvia's Place is Black owned, and they saw an issue and they found a solution. They have neutrals, they have wild colors, and all of them are highly pigmented, whether it has a shine or not. So if you want something that you know is going to be pigmented and it has a great price point, I would go with Juvia's Place.
Okay, is that spelled Juvius place for those Googling right now?
Juvia apostrophe S Place. You can find them directly on their website as well as at Ulta.
Okay, great. And would you recommend MAC makeup? What are your thoughts about that?
It's all a personal preference. We, as even with our vast ranges, MAC has always been a staple that has always been pushed to us. MAC has one thing to keep in mind with MAC is changing their formula very often. And with that change in formula, there is many inconsistencies. So if you love MAC, stay with your MAC. If you are open to options, then I would definitely look at some of the other makeup counters. Lancome has some great shades. They are a bit of a higher price point, but Lancome has great shades. Their makeup is pretty gentle on the skin and it has great pigmentation. And honor they honor undertones of deeper tones. So that's something that's definitely needs to be commemorated when it comes down to representation. Because one thing you'll see is as you go down the makeup aisle, you'll see lighter tones and they'll be neutral and golden and warm and olive, and then you'll start seeing deeper tones, and those attributes do fall off. So you do want something that does honor that consistency, and knowing that people of deeper complexions have undertones too, and that does impact how their makeup lies on their skin. So I would definitely look outside of MAC. Um, MAC has some great staples, but when you look at the catalog of what MAC offers, they are still very bounded. So if you want something that is just as good, I would definitely look at some other options. There's Juvia's Place does have a foundation as well. Lancome has a great foundation. This Fit Me by Maybelline that I've been using today, they have a matte option as well as a dewy finish. And that's a great, price conscious option that you can go ahead and take a look at. And there's also like Makeup Forever, which is comparable to MAC. The one of the founders of MAC actually left MAC and went and made Makeup Forever. So MAC is a staple because of what we're used to, but be open to other options.
Okay, great. And what do you think about those makeup sprayers that they always advertise on late night?
The hydrating misters, um,
No, the ones
oh,
foundation
the
in.
airbrushers. Is that what
Oh, that's what they're called.
the airbrush makeup is fun. Airbrush makeup can also, depending on the brand, I have had a client that could only use airbrush makeup based off of the brand because it was primarily, I believe, water-based and it was gentle on her skin. Um, Airbrush makeup is great, but there's a significant learning curve, because you're not only applying the makeup, but you're also using the tool. So with airbrush, you have to make sure that you're even all the way across. You have to make sure you have a steady hand. You have to make sure that you're able to um, differentiate depth through the lightness or sheerness. So it's definitely a great option if that's something that you want to spend your money on. Because the other thing that limits you is once you buy an airbrush machine within a specific company, you may be limited to their products depending on the calibration of their machine. So it can definitely be a bit limiting, but it is an option of something that could be an alternative.
Okay, great. So we are at 4:23, and I know there are still a lot of questions. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask two more questions. But the ask is that for those of you who I did not get to your questions, please send an email to Sierra for your direct questions so that she can respond to you directly. But I will ask just two more questions, and then we're going to end it because we want to be respectful of your time. One of the questions that came in earlier was you mentioned if your foundation became red, that it was too much, it was too warm for you, right? So if that's the case, should you go up or down? They weren't sure if they should go up or down with the foundation in order to get away from the redness.
So if you put on a foundation and it oxidizes red or orange, then you are going to want to go towards something that is more neutral or more cool. So it's sometimes these stepping scales of different makeup, it depends because sometimes they have it stepping based off of a shade, then warm, neutral, cool, and sometimes it's just kind of shade gradient. But you would want to try something that is going to be more neutral or cool. If you get a very, very, very red finish, then you're probably cool. If you get a slight orange, then you're probably neutral. And you're just going to want to look for either an N or a C or W for warm, that will indicate that would be more so in the direction that you would like to look at.
Okay, great. And last question is this is the person after my heart. So for people like myself who do not wear makeup, what can we do to jazzy it up where you look at us and you like, I see you, but you don't have no makeup on? You know, how does that work? Like, how do you make that happen?
So there are everything that I did, there's kind of a quick fix that it can be done a little bit simpler. So instead of the whole foundation routine, you can use a BB cream. And the BB cream is going to be a tinted moisturizer. So it'll give you a little bit of coverage while staying sheer, and it's not going to feel like you have foundation on your face. It's going to feel like you have, you know, the moisturizer that you put on after you cleanse. When it comes to eyebrows, if you don't want to go through the whole eyebrow routine, there are eyebrow brushes. So it comes with a wand and spoolie, and you can get it ranging from your actual shade to a clear if you just want them to lay down. You can kind of do everything in just kind of a lesser scale or something that is a lot less, more lightweight. So there are the BB creams. They range in many different brands do have a BB cream or a tinted moisturizer, and that also usually has SPF, so it gets that skincare all together as well. And then with the tinted moisturizer, you can either wear it alone, you can put a little bit of a powder over top of it just to kind of set it in for a little bit of extra coverage. And then when it comes down to the rest of it, if you want a little cheek blush and you don't really wear makeup like that, you can use your hands. These are the original makeup brushes. So you can just take a little dab of your cheek blush and then just tap it on. And that way it's subtle, it's controlled, and you have the ability to kind of build it up or simmer it down if you like to.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Sierra. You're getting so many accolades in the chat. They really appreciate the information, and you did a great job. Thank you so much. Lastly, we are going to introduce the president of our chapter, Darkeisha Moten, who is going to say our thanks and give you a farewell. So thank you.
There it goes. Good evening, everyone. Sorors and friends. Thank you for joining in this afternoon. Miss Sade and Sierra, this was very informative. I thought I had a good skincare routine, but it just elevated a little bit more. My face felt very, very soft and moisturized. And now I haven't did a beat face in so long. I had to bring out all of the items. So thank you, Sierra. I think I did okay. Do y'all want to see this pretty face, you know? Sierra, you did that, okay? So thank you, Sorors. Thank you, friends. The Final Womanhood Committee and Membership Committee, thank you for collaborating and bringing all of us together to give us this finer beat for the new year and how we're going to slay 2021, even if we're behind a computer screen. So now you can know what to do with your face for a work meeting, for a chapter meeting, for an event. You can now use the tools that you have received today to do so. So again, I want to say on behalf of Delta Zeta Chapter, thank you for attending and hope you have a wonderful evening and enjoy your week and stay safe. Thank you for joining.